I noticed it first on a Tuesday. Lily was sitting on my couch, untying her sneakers with that careful slowness children use when something hurts, but they don't want to complain. She winced as the left shoe came off. "Does it hurt, sweetheart?" I asked, settling beside her with the bowl of apple slices she liked. She shrugged, that tiny shoulder movement that meant yes, but I'm not supposed to say. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. Just my feet. Mom says it's the new shoes. New shoes. Rachel had said the same thing 3 weeks ago when I'd asked. Before that, it was growing pains. Before that, Lily was just being dramatic. I looked at my granddaughter's feet. Even through her white socks, I could see her toes curled inward. When she walked to the bathroom, she limped. How long has it been hurting? I don't know. She picked at an apple slice. A while. In 8-year-old time, that could mean anything from a week to 6 months. I made a mental note to ask Rachel again, though I already knew what she'd say. Rachel had been dismissive about everything I mentioned lately. Last month, I'd pointed out that Lily seemed tired all the time. Rachel laughed and said I was being paranoid. 2 months before that, I'd suggested Lily's grades were slipping. Rachel accused me of being controlling. Kevin, my son-in-law, had been there for that conversation. He'd smiled at Rachel and said, "Your mom always thinks she knows better, doesn't she?" They'd laughed together. I'd left early. Now Lily sat on my couch, eating apples and trying not to move her feet. I thought about Rachel at 8 years old, when she'd sprained her ankle dancing in the living room. I'd taken her to urgent care within an hour, held her hand through the x-ray, carried her to the car when they gave her crutches. Rachel didn't carry Lily anywhere anymore. Rachel barely looked up from her phone when Lily entered a room. "Want to stay for dinner?" I asked Lily. "I'm making spaghetti." Her face lit up. "Can I? Let me call your mom." I dialed Rachel's number. She answered on the 5th ring, her voice sharp. "What is it, Mom? I'm in the middle of something." "Lily's here. I wanted to ask if she could stay for dinner." Silence. Then, "Did she walk there?" "No, I picked her up from school, remember? You said it was fine." "Right." Rachel's voice went flat. "Fine, 6 o'clock. Don't give her sugar before bed." She hung up before I could mention the feat. Lily and I made spaghetti together. She stood on the step stool by the stove, stirring the sauce like I'd taught her. But every few minutes, she shifted her weight from foot to foot. A small dance of discomfort I pretended not to notice. "Grandma?" she said quietly. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you think Mom would be mad if I told her my feet hurt really bad?" The wooden spoon in my hand stopped moving. "Why would she be mad?" Lily stared into the pot. "Dad says I complain too much. He says Mom has enough to worry about." Dad says. Kevin's voice in my granddaughter's mouth, teaching her to shrink, to disappear, to hurt in silence. "Your mom loves you," I said carefully. "She'd want to know if you're in pain." Lily didn't look convinced. After dinner, I drove her home. Their house was a 15-minute drive through North Portland, a neighborhood that had gotten expensive in the past 5 years. Rachel and Kevin had bought the place right before Lily was born. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a backyard with a swing set that nobody used anymore. Kevin answered the door. He was still in his work clothes, a button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Diana, right on time." "Hi, Kevin." I put my hand on Lily's shoulder. "She had a good time." "I'm sure she did." He looked down at Lily. "Did you thank Grandma?" "Thank you, Grandma." Lily hugged my waist. When she pulled away, I saw her wince again. "Kevin," I said, keeping my voice light. "Has Rachel taken Lily to the doctor recently?" "She's been limping." His smile hardened. "New shoes. Kids' feet grow fast. It's been going on for a while." "Diana." He said my name like a warning. "Rachel and I have it handled. But thanks for your concern." The door closed before I could respond. I sat in my car for a long time, watching the lights in their windows. Rachel's silhouette passed by the kitchen. Kevin's shadow moved upstairs. Lily's bedroom light went dark at 7:30. Too early for an 8-year-old's bedtime, I thought. But then again, what did I know? I was just the paranoid grandmother who thought she knew better. I started the engine and drove home through streets wet with October rain. My phone buzzed at a red light. A text from Rachel. "Mom, please stop questioning how we raise Lily. It's not helping." I stared at the message until the light turned green. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing Lily's face when she asked if Rachel would be mad. Kept hearing Kevin's voice. "Rachel and I have it handled. Like Lily was a problem to manage instead of a child to protect. I got up at 2 a.m. and made tea I didn't drink. Sat at my kitchen table and looked at the photo on my refrigerator. Lily at 6 years old, grinning with her 2 front teeth missing. Rachel had let me take her to the park that day. We'd fed ducks and eaten ice cream, and Lily had fallen asleep in my car on the way home, her sticky hands clutching my sleeve. When had that changed? When had Rachel started pulling away? Started listening to Kevin instead of her own instincts? Started treating my concern like interference? I thought about calling her, demanding she take Lily to a doctor, threatening to call child services if she didn't, but I'd made a promise to Lily. She'd asked me not to tell her mom, her small voice full of fear that I'd make things worse. And maybe I would. Maybe Kevin was right, and I was overreacting. Maybe it really was just new shoes, except I'd raised Rachel. I knew what real concern looked like, and this wasn't paranoia. This was a grandmother watching her granddaughter hurt and being told to look away. I went back to bed but didn't sleep. Somewhere across town, in a house with 4 bedrooms and expensive mortgage payments, my granddaughter was probably awake too, her feet aching in the dark, learning to suffer quietly because the adults who were supposed to protect her had decided her pain wasn't worth their time. The call came from Lily's school on a Thursday afternoon. I was folding laundry when my phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. "Ms. Morgan, this is Patricia Flores from Oakwood Elementary. I'm Lily's teacher." My hands went still on a towel. "Is she okay?" "She's fine physically. I'm calling because I've noticed some concerning behaviors over the past few weeks. Lily's been very withdrawn in class. She used to be one of my most enthusiastic students, but lately she barely participates, and she's been falling asleep at her desk." I sat down on the couch. "Have you talked to her parents?" "I've left 3 messages for Mrs. Parker Stevens. She hasn't returned my calls." A pause. "I saw in our records that you're listed as an emergency contact. I thought perhaps you might have better luck reaching her." After we hung up, I stared at my phone for 10 minutes. Then I called Rachel. She answered on the first ring. "Mom, I'm at work." "Rachel, Lily's teacher called me. She says Lily's falling asleep in class and won't talk to anyone. Kids get tired. It's not a big deal." "It is a big deal. She also mentioned you haven't returned any of her calls." Rachel's voice went cold. "Because I don't have time to deal with a teacher who's overreacting. Lily is fine." "Rachel, please, just take her to a doctor." "Let someone look at her feet." "Her feet are fine, Mom. Stop trying to create problems where there aren't any." "I'm not creating problems. I'm trying to help my granddaughter who is clearly in pain." "Enough." It was Kevin's voice now. He'd taken the phone from Rachel. "Diana, this needs to stop. You're interfering with our family, and it's not healthy for Lily. She doesn't need her grandmother making her anxious about every little thing. Kevin, I'm just concerned." "Your concern is noted, but Rachel and I are Lily's parents. We make the decisions about her health care, her education, and who gets to see her. If you can't respect that, then maybe you need some distance." The line went dead. I sat there holding my phone, my heart pounding. Distance. He'd said it like a threat. I tried calling back. Rachel didn't answer. I sent a text. "Please, let's talk about this calmly. I love you both." No response. 2 days passed, then 3. On Monday, I drove to Oakwood Elementary at 3:15 when school let out. I waited by the fence where parents gathered, scanning for Lily's blonde ponytail. She emerged from the building holding Kevin's hand. When she saw me, her face lit up, then immediately fell. Kevin had seen me too. "Lily, wait in the car," he said. She limped toward their SUV without arguing. Kevin walked over to me, his expression pleasant, but his eyes hard. "Diana, what are you doing here?" I wanted to see my granddaughter. Without asking permission? I didn't realize I needed permission to stand on a public sidewalk. He moved closer, lowering his voice. Let me be very clear. Rachel and I have discussed this, and we've decided you need to stop inserting yourself into our lives. You're causing stress for Lily with all your questions and worrying. I'm causing stress. Kevin, she can barely walk. She has new shoes. They need breaking in. This is normal parenting stuff that you apparently don't remember. He smiled, and it was worse than if he'd yelled. We'll call you when we're ready to have you back in Lily's life. Until then, stay away from our house and stop showing up at her school. If you don't, we'll need to get the police involved. He walked back to his car. Through the window, I could see Lily watching me, her small hand pressed against the glass. I drove home shaking, got the police involved, as if I were the threat, as if I were the one hurting her. That night, I couldn't eat. I made soup I didn't touch, sat in front of the TV watching nothing. At 9 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Grandma? It's Lily. I'm using Dad's old phone. He doesn't know I have it. My hands trembled as I typed, Are you okay, sweetheart? My feet hurt really bad. Dad locked my bedroom door tonight. He said I have to stay quiet. I stared at those words until they blurred. Locked your door? Why? He said I was bothering them. Grandma, I'm scared. Where's your mom? Downstairs with Dad. She doesn't know he locked it. Another message came through. Please don't tell them I texted you. Dad said if I complain about anything again, I can't see you anymore. I sat there in my dark living room, reading those messages over and over. My granddaughter, locked in her room in pain, afraid to tell her own mother because her father had trained her to be silent. I typed, I won't tell them, but Lily, I need you to know that what's happening isn't okay. You shouldn't be locked in your room. You shouldn't be in pain. I'm going to help you. How? That was the question, wasn't it? How do you help a child when her parents have cut you off? When any action you take might make things worse for her? I'm figuring that out. But I promise you, sweetheart, I'm not going away. The messages stopped. I assumed Kevin had discovered the phone, or Lily had heard footsteps and hidden it. I didn't sleep that night. I thought about calling the police, but what would I say? My son-in-law locked his daughter in her room for one night. They'd tell me it was a parenting decision. I thought about going to the house, pounding on the door until someone answered, but that would only give Kevin ammunition to keep me away permanently. By morning, I'd made a decision. I couldn't force Rachel to listen. I couldn't make Kevin stop controlling my granddaughter, but I could document what was happening. I could build a case, slowly and carefully, until I had enough evidence that someone in authority would have to pay attention. I drove to Oakwood Elementary and requested a meeting with Patricia Flores. She sat across from me in her classroom, surrounded by colorful posters about kindness and sharing, and listened as I told her everything. I can't officially intervene without parental consent, she said when I finished, but I can document my observations. If Lily shows signs of neglect or abuse, I'm a mandatory reporter. What counts as signs? Excessive fatigue, unexplained injuries, changes in behavior or academic performance, things I'm already seeing. She folded her hands on her desk. Ms. Morgan, I want you to know I'm watching. If something's wrong, I'll catch it. It wasn't enough, but it was something. I went home and started a notebook. Dated every conversation, every text message, every time Lily mentioned pain or fear. Printed out the texts from the old phone. Created a timeline. 3 days later, Rachel finally called me. Mom, we need to talk. I'm listening. Kevin thinks you need professional help. He says your behavior is obsessive and paranoid. I closed my eyes. Rachel, do you really believe that? Silence. Do you? I pressed. Or is that what Kevin told you to believe? Don't do this. Don't try to make my husband the villain. I'm not trying to do anything except make sure my granddaughter is okay. She is okay, and if you can't accept that, then maybe Kevin's right. Maybe you do need distance. The line went dead again. I sat in my kitchen, holding my phone, and realized I'd lost my daughter. Somewhere in the past 8 years, Kevin had taken her from me. turned her against her own instincts, her own mother, her own child's pain. But I hadn't lost Lily yet, and I wasn't going to. I spent 2 weeks planning, 2 weeks watching Rachel's Instagram stories, noting when they posted about date nights and work events, 2 weeks driving past their house at different times, learning their patterns. Kevin left for work at 7:45 a.m. Rachel left at 8:30 after dropping Lily at school. On a Friday morning, I parked 3 blocks from Oakwood Elementary and waited. When I saw Rachel's car pull away, I walked to the pickup area and stood with the other parents and grandparents. Lily came out at 3:20, scanning the crowd. When she saw me, she froze. I waved. She walked over slowly, her backpack bouncing against her shoulders. "Grandma, what are you doing here? Your mom asked me to pick you up today. She had a work emergency." The lie tasted bitter, but I'd practiced it in my bathroom mirror until it sounded natural. Lily's face scrunched up. "She did?" "Yes, sweetheart. Come on, I have a surprise for you." We drove in silence for a few minutes. Then Lily said, "Where are we going?" "Somewhere special." I glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "Have you ever had a pedicure?" Her eyes widened. "Like at a salon?" "Exactly like at a salon. I thought we could both get our feet pampered today. Doesn't that sound nice?" She nodded, but I saw the hesitation in her face. "Will Mom be mad?" "Why would she be mad about spending time with your grandma?" Lily looked out the window and didn't answer. The salon was called Serenity Nails, a small place in a strip mall between a coffee shop and a dry cleaner. I'd chosen it because the owner, a woman named Mai, had helped my neighbor's daughter last year when she'd noticed bruising that turned out to be from an abusive boyfriend. Mai was someone who noticed things. Inside, the air smelled like lavender and nail polish remover. Soft music played from hidden speakers. Mai greeted us at the door, a tiny woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and gentle hands. "Welcome, welcome. Pedicure for grandmother and granddaughter?" "Yes, please." We settled into the massage chairs. Lily giggled when hers started vibrating. For a moment, she looked like a regular 8-year-old, excited and carefree. Mai knelt in front of me first, filling a basin with warm water. Then her assistant, a younger woman named Lynn, prepared Lily's basin. I watched Lily's face as she lowered her feet into the water. She winced. "Too hot?" Lynn asked. "No, it's okay." But her voice was tight. Mai worked on my feet with practiced efficiency, massaging and clipping and buffing. I tried to relax, but my attention stayed on Lily. Lynn had begun removing Lily's socks. The assistant's hand stopped moving. "Ms. Mai?" Lynn's voice was careful. "Can you look at this?" Mai stood and walked over to Lily's chair. She knelt down, taking one of Lily's feet in her hands. I leaned forward, trying to see. Mai examined Lily's foot in silence. Then the other one. Her expression didn't change, but something in her posture went rigid. "Sweetheart," Mai said softly to Lily. "Does this hurt when I press here?" Lily nodded, biting her lip. Mai pressed another spot. Lily flinched. Mai stood and caught my eye. "Ma'am, may I speak with you privately?" We stepped into the back room, leaving Lynn to distract Lily with nail polish colors. Mai closed the door. "Those feet," she said quietly, "are not from new shoes." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean? I've been doing this 30 years. I've seen children who work in factories back in Vietnam, standing 12 hours on concrete floors. I've seen dancers who practice until their bones crack. That little girl's feet look like both." She pulled out her phone and showed me photos. "See these calluses? They're not from walking. They're from standing in one position for long periods. And these pressure marks on her heels? That's from hard surfaces, probably concrete or wood. Her toenails are damaged from repeated trauma. One of them is infected." The room tilted. I gripped the counter. "How long?" I managed to ask. "Months, maybe longer. Someone has been making that child stand for hours at a time, probably in one place, probably as punishment." Mai's eyes were hard. "This is abuse." I knew something was wrong. Her parents wouldn't listen. The parents did this. "I don't know. Maybe. My son-in-law, he's been keeping me away from her." And Rachel, my daughter, she just does whatever he says. Mai nodded slowly. I'm a mandatory reporter. I have to call Child Protective Services. Will they do anything? Kevin's good at explaining things away. With these photos? With my testimony? Mai squeezed my shoulder. They'll investigate. That's all we can do. We went back out. Lily was holding up 2 bottles of nail polish, trying to decide between pink and purple. She looked so small in that big chair, her damaged feet soaking in warm water, completely unaware that the adults around her were finally seeing what she'd been trying to hide. Can I get both colors? She asked. 1 on each foot? Of course, sweetheart, I said, my voice steady despite everything breaking inside me. Whatever you want. Mai and Lynn worked carefully on Lily's feet, cleaning the infection, trimming the damaged nails, massaging the calluses with cream. Lily relaxed as they worked, her eyes half closed. This feels really good, she murmured. When was the last time anyone touched your feet gently? Mai asked. Lily thought about it. I don't remember. After we paid and left, I drove Lily to McDonald's. We sat in a booth by the window, eating chicken nuggets and fries. Lily dipped each fry carefully in ketchup, taking small bites. Grandma, she said after a while, why did that lady take pictures of my feet? I'd been dreading this question. Because she's worried about you, sweetheart. Because feet shouldn't look like that. Dad says my feet are fine. Does he make you stand in one place for a long time? Lily's hand froze halfway to her mouth. She set the fry down. Sometimes, she whispered, when I'm bad. What does bad mean? If I talk too much at dinner, or if I don't clean my room right, or if I make noise when he's trying to work. She wouldn't look at me. He makes me stand in the corner of my room, sometimes for a really long time. Once it was all night. All night. An 8-year-old child, standing in a corner all night while her feet screamed and her mother slept in the next room. Does Mom know? Lily shook her head. Dad says it's between us. He says Mom has enough stress without me being a problem. I reached across the table and took her hand. Lily, listen to me very carefully. You are not a problem. You are a child who deserves to be loved and protected. What your dad is doing is wrong. But he said, I don't care what he said. He's lying to you. Tears filled her eyes. Are you going to tell Mom? Yes, and I'm going to make sure you're safe, even if that means your mom gets angry with me. She'll be so mad. Lily started crying. She'll say I'm making things up. She always believes Dad. I moved to her side of the booth and pulled her into my arms. She sobbed against my shoulder, 8 years of fear and pain and confusion pouring out in that McDonald's, while strangers pretended not to notice. When she finally calmed down, I wiped her face with napkins and said, We need to go back now. But Lily, if anything happens, if you get scared or hurt, you text me on that phone, okay? Anytime, day or night. She nodded. I drove her home. Kevin's car was already in the driveway. My heart sank. He opened the door before we reached it. His face was calm, but his jaw was tight. Diana, where have you been with my daughter? We went for ice cream. Rachel said it was fine. Rachel is inside, and she definitely did not say it was fine. He looked down at Lily. Go to your room. She obeyed without a word, limping past him. Kevin stepped onto the porch, pulling the door closed. I don't know what game you're playing, but it ends now. You picked Lily up from school without permission. You took her somewhere without telling us. That's kidnapping. I took my granddaughter for a pedicure, without asking her parents, because her parents are hurting her. His expression didn't change. Be very careful, Diana. If you make accusations like that, there will be consequences. Rachel and I will file a restraining order. You'll never see Lily again. I have photos. Mai at the salon documented everything. For the first time, something flickered across his face. Photos of what? Her feet. The damage from standing for hours. The infection. The evidence that someone has been abusing my granddaughter. Kevin smiled. Kids' feet get rough. She plays outside. She's active. Any doctor will tell you that. We'll see what CPS tells me. His smile vanished. You called CPS? Mai did. She's a mandatory reporter. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he stepped back inside and closed the door in my face. I stood on that porch, my hands shaking, and knew I'd just declared war. The CPS caseworker called me on Sunday morning. Her name was Angela Reeves, and her voice carried the exhaustion of someone who'd seen too much. Ms. Morgan, I'm following up on the report filed by Mine Nguyen at Serenity Nails. I need to ask you some questions about your granddaughter, Lily Parker Stevens. I sat at my kitchen table with my notebook open. I'll tell you everything. We talked for 40 minutes. I told her about the limping, the texts from Lily, Kevin's threats, Rachel's dismissiveness. I sent her the photos Mai had taken. I read her entries from my timeline. The parents are denying everything, Angela said when I finished. Mr. Parker Stevens says the foot damage is from playing outside barefoot. Mrs. Parker Stevens corroborates his story. They're claiming you're a vindictive grandmother trying to interfere with their parenting. Of course they are. I've scheduled a home visit for tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'll inspect the house and interview Lily privately. But Ms. Morgan, I need you to understand something. Unless I find clear evidence of abuse, there's not much I can do. Parents have wide latitude in how they discipline their children. Even if that discipline involves making an 8-year-old stand in a corner all night? If I can verify that's happening, then yes, that would constitute abuse. But right now, it's your word against theirs. After we hung up, I sat in the silence of my kitchen. Through the window, I could see my neighbor watering his garden. His life simple and uncomplicated. I envied him. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. How dare you call CPS on us? You've crossed a line you can't come back from. Don't contact me or Lily again. We're done. I stared at those words. We're done. As if 28 years of being her mother could be erased by one text message. I typed, I did what I had to do to protect your daughter. If you can't see that Kevin is hurting her, then I'll be the one who sees it. No response. Monday crawled by. I cleaned my house, reorganized closets, did anything to keep my hands busy. At 3:30, I drove past Rachel and Kevin's house. Angela's car was already there, a white sedan with government plates. I parked 2 blocks away and waited. At 4:45, Angela emerged. Even from a distance, I could see the tension in her shoulders. She called me at 5:15. I completed the home visit, she said. The house is clean, well-maintained. There's food in the refrigerator. Lily has her own bedroom with toys and books. Mr. Parker Stevens was cooperative. Mrs. Parker Stevens was cooperative. Lily said everything is fine. My heart sank. She's scared to tell the truth. I'm aware that children often protect their abusers. I asked to see Lily's feet. Mrs. Parker Stevens showed me. The feet are damaged, but Mr. Parker Stevens explained that Lily has been going barefoot outside against their wishes. He showed me their backyard. It's concrete patio and gravel landscaping. The story holds up. What about her room? Did you check if the door locks from the outside? A pause. There's a slide lock on the outside of her bedroom door. And that doesn't concern you? Mr. Parker Stevens said they installed it last month because Lily has been sleepwalking. The pediatrician recommended it for safety. He showed me a note from Dr. Richardson at Bayside Pediatrics. Of course he did. Kevin had an answer for everything. Ms. Morgan, I'm keeping the case open. I've scheduled a follow-up visit in 2 weeks, but based on what I saw today, there's no immediate danger to remove Lily from the home. After she hung up, I sat in my car and screamed. Actually screamed until my throat hurt and my voice went hoarse. Then I drove to Target. I walked through the store in a daze, barely seeing the other shoppers, until I found what I needed, a stuffed elephant with a bow tie, the kind Lily loved. At home, I carefully opened the seam on the elephant's back and inserted a device I'd ordered online. A tiny camera with audio recording, motion activated, with 48 hours of battery life. I'd spent 3 hours researching it, reading reviews from parents who use them as nanny cams. I sewed the elephant back up. The stitches were clumsy, but they held. Tuesday morning, I called Oakwood Elementary and asked to speak with Patricia Flores. Ms. Morgan, I heard about the CPS visit. Is everything okay? No, but I need your help with something, and it can't be official. I explained my plan. Patricia was silent for a long time. If anyone finds out I helped you do this, she finally said, I could lose my teaching license. I know, and I wouldn't ask if there was any other way. Another silence. Then, Lily has library time tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'll make sure she's there alone for 10 minutes. That's all I can give you. Wednesday at 12:45, I walked into Oakwood Elementary carrying a gift bag. The front desk receptionist smiled. Diana Morgan, here to drop off a gift for my granddaughter, Lily Parker Stevens. Her teacher said I could leave it in the library. The receptionist checked her computer. Patricia noted that you'd be coming. Go ahead. The library was empty except for the librarian, who was shelving books with headphones on. I found Lily sitting at a table, reading. Grandma? She jumped up. What are you doing here? I brought you something. I handed her the gift bag. I saw this and thought of you. She pulled out the elephant, her face lighting up. He's so cute. His name is Oscar. He's a special elephant who keeps watch over you at night. Like a guardian? Exactly like a guardian. I knelt down to her level. Lily, I need you to do something for me. Keep Oscar on your dresser, facing your room. Can you do that? She hugged the elephant. Why? Because he's going to help me keep you safe. I hugged her quickly and left before anyone could question why I was there. That night, I sat at my computer with my phone connected via Bluetooth to the camera. The app showed a dark room, presumably Lily's bedroom. The camera's night vision cast everything in shades of green and gray. At 8:30, the lights came on. I watched Rachel tuck Lily into bed, kiss her forehead, and leave. The door closed. Normal bedtime routine. I waited. At 9:15, the door opened again. Kevin entered. He stood at the foot of Lily's bed, his silhouette motionless. Lily, get up. She sat up slowly, rubbing her eyes. Dad? You know what you did wrong tonight. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. You talked back to your mother at dinner. Get up and stand in the corner. I watched my granddaughter climb out of bed in her pajamas and walk to the corner of her room. Kevin positioned her precisely, adjusting her shoulders. Hands at your sides. Face the wall. Don't move until I come back. How long? As long as it takes for you to learn respect. He left. The lock on the door clicked. I watched Lily stand there, her small body swaying slightly. After 15 minutes, she shifted her weight. After 30, she was crying silently. After an hour, she slid down the wall to sit. The door opened. Kevin's voice was cold. Did I say you could sit? My feet hurt. Stand up. Start over. Another hour. I recorded everything. Every word. Every moment. Every time she whimpered and he ignored her. At midnight, he finally let her sleep. I had my evidence, but watching it had hollowed me out. That was my daughter's husband, the man she'd chosen to build a life with, torturing a child while Rachel slept downstairs. Thursday morning, I called Angela Reeves. I have video evidence. Kevin Parker Stevens forced Lily to stand facing a corner for 3 hours last night. The bedroom door is locked from the outside. I have everything on camera. How did you obtain this video? I hesitated. Does it matter? If you obtained it illegally, I can't use it in court. Oregon is a two-party consent state for recordings. If you record it inside their home without permission, it's not their home. It's Lily's bedroom, and she's a child who can't consent to being abused. Ms. Morgan, I understand your frustration, but... Just watch it. Please, I'm sending it now. I hung up and emailed her the files. Then I sat back and waited. Angela called me back 3 hours later. I've reviewed the footage. I'm opening a full investigation. I'll be executing an emergency removal order this afternoon. Lily will be placed in protective custody pending a hearing. I closed my eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get very ugly very fast. The parents will fight back. They'll lawyer up. They'll claim you manipulated the evidence. And Ms. Morgan, that camera you used, it's legally questionable. A judge might throw out the whole case. But you'll try? I'll do everything I can. But prepare yourself. This might not end the way you hope. At 4 p.m., I got a call from an unknown number. When I answered, Rachel's voice was shaking with rage. They took her. CPS just came and took Lily. They said I'm under investigation for child abuse. My own daughter, Mom. They took my daughter because of you. Because of Kevin. Don't you dare blame him. He's been crying for an hour. This is tearing our family apart. Your family was already torn apart. You just couldn't see it. I will never forgive you for this. Never. The line went dead. I sat in my kitchen as the sun set, as the sky turned orange and then purple and then black, and I thought about forgiveness. Rachel would never forgive me. Maybe Lily wouldn't either, once she understood what I'd done. Maybe I'd sacrificed every relationship I had left for this one thing, but Lily was safe tonight. She was sleeping somewhere without locked doors, without corners to stand in, without feet that ached from hours of punishment. That had to be enough. The hearing was scheduled for Friday morning, 72 hours after Lily was removed. Angela called me Thursday night to warn me. They've hired Daniel Kovach. He's one of the best family law attorneys in Portland. He's already filed motions to suppress your video evidence and to have you barred from any custody considerations. He's arguing parental alienation. Can he win? He's very good at what he does. And Ms. Morgan, you need to prepare yourself. They're going to paint you as an obsessed grandmother who's been harassing this family for months. They have text messages, witness statements, evidence that you took Lily without permission. Kovach is building a narrative that you're the destabilizing force, not Kevin. I'd expected this. I'd still hoped I was wrong. Friday morning, I dressed in the navy suit I'd worn to my husband's funeral 6 years ago. I pulled my gray hair back in a neat bun. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw an old woman who was about to lose everything. The courthouse was downtown, a concrete building with too much security and not enough windows. Angela met me in the hallway outside the courtroom. Lily's foster family brought her. She's in a private room with a child advocate. She'll testify via video if the judge allows it. Angela's expression was grim. Diana, I need you to stay calm in there. Don't react to anything Kevin or Rachel says, no matter how much it hurts. The judge is watching everyone. Inside, the courtroom was smaller than I expected. Rachel and Kevin sat at one table with their attorney, a man in his 50s with silver hair and an expensive suit. I sat at another table with Angela. Between us, a vast space that used to hold 28 years of mother-daughter love. Rachel wouldn't look at me. Kevin stared straight ahead, his jaw tight. Judge Maria Santos entered. She was younger than I expected, maybe 50, with sharp eyes and no patience for games. She reviewed the files in silence while we all waited. This is a preliminary hearing to determine temporary custody of Lily Ann Parker Stevens, age 8. Her voice was clear and cold. I've reviewed the CPS report, the video evidence, and the motions filed by both parties. Mr. Kovach, you may begin. Daniel Kovach stood. He moved with the confidence of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. Your Honor, this case is about an unstable grandmother who's been waging a campaign against my clients for months. Diana Morgan has repeatedly inserted herself into parenting decisions, made false accusations, and ultimately kidnapped the child to obtain video evidence through illegal surveillance. The surveillance was conducted in the child's own bedroom, Angela interrupted, a space where she had a reasonable expectation of privacy from her abusers, not from someone trying to protect her. Alleged abusers, Kovach corrected. There's no proof that standing in a corner constitutes abuse. It's a common disciplinary technique used by parents nationwide. Judge Santos raised her hand. I'll hear from the child first. Bring in the video feed. A screen descended from the ceiling. After a moment, Lily's face appeared. She was in a small room with yellow walls, sitting in a chair too big for her. A woman sat beside her, presumably the child advocate. Hello, Lily, Judge Santos said gently. I'm Judge Santos. I need to ask you some questions. You're not in trouble. I just want to understand what's been happening at home. Is that okay? Lily nodded, her eyes wide. Can you tell me about standing in the corner? Lily's hands twisted in her lap. Dad makes me stand there when I'm bad. What does being bad mean? If I talk too much, or if I don't clean my room right, or if I'm too loud when he's working. How long do you stand there? Sometimes a little while, sometimes all night. A murmur went through the courtroom. Kevin's attorney scribbled notes. All night? Judge Santos repeated. You stand in the corner all night? Not every time. Just when I'm really bad. Does your mother know about this? Lily shook her head. Dad says it's our secret. He says Mom is stressed and I shouldn't bother her. Do your feet hurt when you stand for a long time? Tears filled Lily's eyes. Really bad. Sometimes I cry. But I have to be quiet or Dad gets mad. Judge Santos leaned back in her chair. Thank you, Lily. You did very well. The screen went dark. Kovac stood immediately. Your Honor, children are highly suggestible. Lily has spent 3 days in foster care being interviewed by social workers who have a vested interest in finding abuse. Her testimony is tainted. I watched a video of your client forcing this child to stand for 3 hours, Judge Santos said flatly, while her bedroom door was locked from the outside. Would you like to explain that? Kevin's attorney didn't miss a beat. The discipline session in question lasted 30 minutes, not 3 hours. The video has been edited to appear worse than it was. As for the lock, as I noted in my brief, the child has been sleepwalking. The pediatrician recommended a safety lock. I have the full unedited video, Angela said, time-stamped, and I've subpoenaed Dr. Richardson. He has no record of recommending a lock. In fact, he has no record of treating Lily for sleepwalking at all. Kovac's expression flickered, just for a second, but I saw it. Judge Santos looked at Kevin directly. Mr. Parker Stevens, did you tell CPS that your pediatrician recommended the lock? Kevin stood. Yes, Your Honor. I may have been mistaken about which doctor gave that advice. We've consulted several physicians about Lily's sleep issues. Name one. Silence. Mr. Parker Stevens? I'd need to check my records. You don't remember the name of a single doctor who treated your daughter for a serious enough condition that you needed to lock her in her room? Kevin's jaw tightened. We've been under significant stress due to Ms. Morgan's harassment. Some details have become confused. Judge Santos turned to Rachel. Mrs. Parker Stevens, were you aware of the nighttime discipline sessions? Rachel stood slowly. She looked smaller than I remembered, her shoulders hunched. No, Your Honor. Your husband locked your daughter in her room for hours, and you didn't know? I take sleeping medication. I don't always hear things at night. How convenient. Judge Santos's voice was sharp. Let me be very clear, Mrs. Parker Stevens. Either you're lying to protect your husband, or you've been so neglectful of your daughter that you didn't notice she was being abused in the next room. Neither option reflects well on your parenting. Rachel's face crumpled. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Mom knew, Kevin said suddenly. His voice was tight with anger. She knew, and she approved. This is a parenting technique her mother used on her. Tell them, Rachel. Rachel went white. That's not. Tell them how your mother made you stand in corners when you misbehaved, how she locked you in your room. You said it taught you discipline. I felt like I'd been punched. Was that true? Had I done that to Rachel? I searched my memories desperately. Yes, Rachel had stood in corners a few times when she was young. Timeouts, 5 minutes, maybe 10, never hours, never locked in her room. Never. But the seed of doubt was planted. Judge Santos was looking at me now. Ms. Morgan, did you use similar discipline methods with your daughter? I stood on shaking legs. I used timeouts, Your Honor. Brief ones, 5 or 10 minutes. I never locked her in her room. I never made her stand for hours. She's lying, Kevin said. Rachel told me stories about her childhood, about being punished, about— Stop. Rachel's voice cut through the courtroom. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. Stop lying, Kevin, just stop. Everyone froze. Rachel turned to Judge Santos. My mother never abused me. She was a good mother. Kevin's been twisting my memories, making me doubt myself. He's been doing it for years. Rachel, don't, Kevin hissed. I didn't know about the corner punishments. I didn't know he was locking Lily in her room, but I should have known. She looked at me for the first time since the hearing started. Mom tried to tell me something was wrong. She tried so many times, and I called her paranoid. I chose him over her. I chose him over my own daughter. Kevin grabbed Rachel's arm. Sit down. Let our lawyer handle this. She yanked her arm away. Don't touch me. Don't ever touch me again. Your Honor, Kovac interjected. My client is clearly under emotional distress. I request a recess. Request denied. Judge Santos's eyes were on Rachel. Mrs. Parker Stevens, are you saying you want to change your testimony? Rachel nodded, wiping her face. Kevin has been controlling me for years. He isolated me from my mother, from my friends. He made me doubt my own instincts. He convinced me that Mom was the problem, not him. I believed him because it was easier than admitting I'd married someone who would hurt my child. This is absurd, Kevin said, standing. Rachel is having a breakdown. She's not thinking clearly. I'm thinking clearly for the first time in 8 years. Rachel's voice grew stronger. I want Lily to live with my mother. I want supervised visitation for myself until I can prove I'm capable of protecting her. And I want Kevin to have no contact with her at all. The courtroom erupted. Kovac was on his feet, objecting. Kevin was shouting. Angela was trying to speak over everyone. Judge Santos slammed her gavel. Order. Everyone sit down and be quiet. Slowly, the chaos settled. Judge Santos looked at each of us in turn. Then she said, I'm granting temporary custody to Diana Morgan. Mrs. Parker Stevens will have supervised visitation twice a week, pending completion of a psychological evaluation and parenting classes. Mr. Parker Stevens is forbidden from any contact with the child pending a full investigation by law enforcement. This hearing is adjourned. She left before anyone could argue. I sat there, unable to move, unable to process what had just happened. I'd won. Lily was safe. But Rachel was broken. Lily moved into my house on a Sunday. She arrived with 2 suitcases, a backpack, and the stuffed elephant I'd given her. The social worker who drove her stood in my doorway making sure everything was appropriate. Clean house, child-safe environment, separate bedroom ready. You'll have a check-in visit in 2 weeks, the social worker said. And Ms. Morgan, remember that reunification with the mother is the goal. Don't speak negatively about Mrs. Parker Stevens in front of Lily. After she left, Lily and I stood in the living room looking at each other. Want to see your room? I asked. She nodded. I'd spent the past 3 days preparing it. Fresh paint in soft lavender, the color she'd mentioned liking. New bedding with clouds and stars. A bookshelf I'd filled from the children's section at Powell's. A desk by the window for homework. Everything an 8-year-old might need to feel safe. Lily walked in slowly, taking it all in. She touched the bedspread, ran her fingers along the books, looked out the window at the backyard where I'd hung a bird feeder. There's no lock, she said quietly. No lock. You can come and go whenever you want. This is your home now. She turned to look at me, her eyes full of questions she didn't know how to ask. Am I staying forever? For as long as you need to stay, and even after you don't live here anymore, this will always be your room. Always. That first week was careful and quiet. Lily tiptoed around the house like she expected someone to yell at her. She asked permission for everything, to get water, to use the bathroom, to sit on the couch. Every time I said yes, she looked surprised. On Wednesday, I took her to a pediatric podiatrist. Dr. Amelia Webb examined Lily's feet with gentle hands and a serious expression. The damage is significant, she told me privately afterward. The calluses will take months to heal properly. The infected nail needs treatment. She'll need orthotics to help correct the way she's learned to walk. But children are resilient. With proper care, she should recover fully. Will it hurt? The healing process? Some discomfort, yes, but nothing like what she's been enduring. That night, I helped Lily soak her feet in Epsom salt. She sat on the bathroom counter, her feet in the sink, while I told her stories about her mother as a little girl, stories I hadn't thought about in years. Mom used to be fun? Lily asked. Your mom was very fun, silly and creative and fearless. What happened to her? I thought about that question carefully. Sometimes people change when they're scared. Your dad made your mom scared for a long time. But she's trying to find her way back to who she used to be. Rachel's first supervised visit was scheduled for Saturday at a family counseling center downtown. I drove Lily there, my stomach in knots. We sat in the waiting room with bright posters about feelings and a box of toys nobody touched. Rachel arrived 10 minutes early. She'd lost weight. Her clothes hung loose, and there were dark circles under her eyes. When she saw Lily, she started crying. Hi, baby. Lily stood frozen. I gave her a gentle push forward. They hugged, awkward and uncertain. Then they went into a private room with a supervisor. I sat in the waiting room for an hour, reading a magazine I didn't comprehend. When they emerged, Lily was holding Rachel's hand. "Mom's learning how to be a better mom," Lily announced. "She goes to classes." Rachel met my eyes over Lily's head. "Can we talk? Just for a minute?" The supervisor nodded. I followed Rachel to the parking lot while Lily waited inside. "I'm in therapy 3 times a week," Rachel said without preamble. "I'm in a support group for domestic abuse survivors. I'm taking parenting classes. I'm doing everything they told me to do." "Good. Kevin's been arrested. Did you hear?" I had. Angela had called me. Kevin Parker Stevens faced multiple charges: child abuse, child endangerment, unlawful imprisonment. His employer, a tech company downtown, had fired him immediately. His name was in the newspapers. His mugshot was online. Everything he'd built had collapsed in 3 weeks. That was my quiet revenge. No dramatic confrontation, no public speech, just letting the truth do its work. "I heard." Rachel's voice dropped. "Mom, I need you to know something. What Kevin did to Lily, I really didn't know. I know you don't believe me." "I believe you." She looked up, startled. "You do?" "I've had 3 weeks to think about it. Kevin was good at what he did. He isolated you. He manipulated you. He made you doubt your own instincts until you couldn't hear them anymore." I paused. "But Rachel, you chose to stop listening to me. You chose to believe him when he said I was the problem. That part is on you." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know. I'm so sorry. For everything. For all those times I dismissed you. For choosing him over you. For letting him hurt Lily while I was too blind to see it. Sorry isn't enough. I know that too. That's why I'm doing the work. I'm trying to become someone who deserves to be Lily's mother again." I studied my daughter's face. 28 years of memories lived there. The baby I'd held at 3 a.m., the toddler who'd cried when I left for work, the teenager who'd screamed that she hated me, the young woman who'd called me crying after her first heartbreak. All of her, contained in this broken person trying to find her way back. "It's going to take time," I said. "I have time, however long it takes." Over the following months, a routine developed. Lily lived with me during the week, went to school, did homework at the kitchen table, learned to laugh again. Rachel visited twice a week under supervision, then 3 times, then unsupervised for short periods. I watched Rachel slowly come back to life. She left Kevin, filed for divorce, moved into a small apartment near my house. She got a job at a nonprofit helping domestic abuse survivors. She kept going to therapy, kept taking her classes, kept showing up for Lily even when it was hard. In June, 8 months after Lily came to live with me, we sat in Judge Santos's courtroom again. This time, the hearing was about permanent custody arrangements. "Mrs. Parker Stevens," Judge Santos said, reviewing the file, "your therapist reports significant progress. Your parenting coach reports that you've completed all required classes and demonstrated appropriate parenting skills. CPS recommends shared custody with Ms. Morgan retaining primary physical custody. What are you asking for?" Rachel stood. "I'm asking for joint legal custody with my mother retaining primary physical custody. I want Lily to continue living with her grandmother in the home where she feels safe. I want regular visitation that increases gradually as Lily becomes comfortable. And I want my mother to have final say in all major decisions until Lily tells us she's ready for me to have equal say." Judge Santos looked at me. "Ms. Morgan, do you agree to this arrangement?" I thought about it. Thought about Lily sleeping peacefully in the room with no lock. Thought about Rachel working hard to become someone her daughter could trust again. Thought about Kevin, whose trial was scheduled for September, whose life had been systematically dismantled by his own actions. "I agree, Your Honor, with one addition. I want Rachel to continue therapy for at least another year, and I want quarterly check-ins with CPS to ensure Lily's well-being. Granted, this court awards joint legal custody to Rachel Parker Stevens and Diana Morgan, with primary physical custody to Ms. Morgan. Visitation schedule to be determined by mutual agreement. This case is closed." That evening, Rachel came over for dinner. The 3 of us sat at my kitchen table eating spaghetti, The same meal I'd made the first night Lily had visited me almost a year ago. "Grandma makes the best spaghetti," Lily announced. "I taught her how to make it," Rachel said with a small smile, "when I was about your age." "Really? Really? Your grandma taught me lots of things. I forgot some of them for a while, but I'm remembering again." After dinner, we sat in the backyard watching the sunset. Lily ran around catching fireflies in a jar. Rachel and I sat in lawn chairs, not talking, just being. "I'll never be able to make this up to you," Rachel said quietly. "What I put you through, what I let happen to Lily. You're right. You can't make it up to me. But you can be the mother Lily needs from now on. That's enough." "Is it? Is it really enough?" I thought about forgiveness. Real forgiveness. Not the easy kind where you pretend nothing happened. The hard kind where you acknowledge the damage and choose to move forward anyway. "It has to be," I said. "Because the alternative is losing each other completely, and I've already lost too much." Rachel reached over and took my hand. We sat like that while Lily played, and the sky turned purple, and the fireflies blinked their small lights in the growing dark. 3 months later, I stood in another courtroom, this time, criminal court. Kevin's trial had lasted 2 weeks. I'd testified, Rachel had testified, Lily had testified via video. The jury had deliberated for 4 hours. We find the defendant guilty on all counts. Kevin's face remained blank as the judge sentenced him to 6 years in prison. His attorney filed an immediate appeal. It wouldn't matter. The evidence was overwhelming. As they led him away, he looked at Rachel one last time. She stared back without flinching. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Rachel walked past them without comment. I followed her to her car. "It's really over," she said. "Yes. I'm free. Yes." She started crying. Not sad tears this time. Relief. That Saturday, Lily had a birthday party in my backyard. She turned 9 surrounded by school friends, her teacher Patricia Flores, Mai from the nail salon, Angela from CPS, Dr. Webb the podiatrist, and Rachel. No Kevin, no locked doors, no corners, no fear. Just a little girl blowing out candles, her feet healed, her laughter real. I stood in my kitchen watching through the window, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace, not happiness. That would come later, slowly, but peace. Rachel came to stand beside me. "Thank you," she said, "for not giving up on her, on us. I'm her grandmother. Giving up was never an option. I wish I'd been as brave as you. You're being brave now. That's what matters." We watched Lily together. This child we both loved. This child we'd both failed in different ways. This child who was learning to trust again. The road ahead was long. Rachel would keep working to earn back Lily's full trust. I would keep being the safe harbor they both needed. Lily would keep healing, keep growing, keep learning that she deserved better than what she'd been given. But we had time now. We had truth. We had each other. And locked doors stayed locked only as long as no one was brave enough to break them down.